welcome to the God is a Geek podcast. My name is Adam Cook. I am your host with the most this week, and praise Jeebus F. The gang is back. Chris White.
Hello.
How are you, Chris White?
I'm good, thanks. I thought you were going to do
sure?
like quick fire, like everyone's name. But
I was, and I thought about it. I did. Listen, let's break this down. I thought about it for a minute before we started, and then I thought, do you know what? No. Chris White deserves more than just hello, Chris White. He deserves more than that.
Sure, thank you. Well, I'm actually all right. I've been at work today. It was busy, but not too busy. I've just had a nice roast dinner, so I'm feeling good. I'm here to talk about some games. Yeah,
kind of giving away what time we record this. Adam Carroll, how are you? What have you had for dinner?
I had 4-star pizza. No. I don't know.
I don't know that we need to get into that this early, because your pizza, remember? I mean, do you want to just tell us very briefly? Because again, Adam Carroll doesn't deserve just a hello, Adam Carroll. What's just very briefly, Adam? Could you tell us what? And our listeners, obviously, what did you say it was? 4 stars pizza.
4-star pizza. That's the name of it.
Yeah, what's on it?
There was just a bit of everything. I had like 3 sauces as well. There's probably no need for 3 sauces, but
well, it depends. What are they?
There was sriracha, barbecue, and then I had like the garlic and herb thing going on. And
I regret everything.
Why?
I regret it. We will. What toppings are on your pizza, Adam?
Oh, just everything. You can't like, do you know.
So where's it from? Is this a local delicacy? Or?
Yeah, it is. It's pretty much like a Domino's thing, but it's just here.
Okay.
Right.
So
I enjoyed it, but I know I'm going to have an upset tummy in a while.
And when you say that, do you mean the shits or?
Well, sure. Look, I guess so.
We're here.
Why
As
not?
I said, Adam Carroll and Chris White do not deserve just this throwaway intro. Gary Bailey's here as well, but we're going to talk about video games. Welcome back, Gary. I mean, I think everyone knows I was building to that. I think.
Yeah, it was.
I think even you were in on the joke for once there, guys. Yeah. How are you, mate? All right.
I'm okay, thank you. Good to be back.
Have you had dinner? What have you had dinner? And if so, what have you had?
Yeah, I had a nice roast beef dinner.
The most English of dishes.
Oh yeah.
With vanilla ice cream for pudding?
No, didn't actually have any pudding.
So we've got 2 people who've had a roast. What was yours, Chris? Sorry, I didn't even ask what meat you had. I apologise.
I also had chicken with mine. Nice cooked chicken.
Hey, I am not in any way going to hear bad things about roast chicken, and I don't think anyone on this podcast will. Adam Carroll.
Yes.
I should hope not.
Well, are you fine with the roast chicken, Adam?
Well, it's fucking going to have to. And it's not like I'm going to say I dislike it and you're all going to go, cool, yeah. It's never going to be easy.
Wait. I don't even want to talk about games now. Are you saying you do have a problem with roast chicken?
Well, no, but I don't eat it.
No, but it didn't. No, because you're a vegetarian.
Yes.
That's fine.
That's my problem.
That's fine.
I don't eat
But I felt like you were going to come out with some kind of
spiel.
No.
A big spiel about why you shouldn't be eating roast chicken.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, no, to be honest, look, I'm going to be honest here and be very controversial at the same time, and just put out the line that I actually always thought, as a man, for me personally, a man who's dived into many food territories of our wonderful world, I would have to say that I've always thought a roast dinner was overrated. Now, how are you feeling?
Very, very ill all of a sudden.
Oh, who's got the bad opinions now?
Well,
I mean, Gaz, someone had to pick up the mantle, mate. The caravan door was left open.
Yeah, it was. It had to be
For some
closed.
reason, Adam's just fucking wandered inside there.
Well, I was getting fucking
well
chilly. I was getting chilly,
Start
you know.
fucking regurgitating Pringles everywhere.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
well, yes.
I don't know.
I mean, the thing about chicken, I will say, is I'm not the best cook in the world, which I guess, is ironic given my name. But I don't like preparing chicken. I really don't, because... Well, chicken's one of those things that if I see it, I don't want to eat it once it's cooked because I can't stop thinking about how it is. Because, the thing about chicken is that often when you open the pack, there's blood on them. Sometimes they're a bit blood-stained, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I prepared some blood-stained chicken yesterday with some PVC gloves.
I mean, I really thought that deserved better. I'm sorry.
I thought you were actually going on about it, and then I realised what you were doing. So, fair play. Well done.
Like 4.5 minutes of preamble.
Yeah.
To get to a blood-stained
pun. I didn't even notice.
Chris, we fucked it. We fucked it completely.
I prepared chicken yesterday. I didn't even notice.
And was it yeah, you
Anyway.
literally you drove the biggest truck I've ever seen right over it and stopped, got out the vehicle, shat on my face, and then drove off, left me for dead. How much? I know, Gary, like you've been massively following Bloodstained. Have you played it yet?
Nope.
Brilliant.
I do want it, and part of me was put off by the price because I was expecting like a 20 quid game, and when it came out, it was sort of like 30, 35.
Yeah,
I was
30
like,
to 40, yeah.
I'm not sure about that. But the stuff I'm hearing makes me question that I might have to jump in anyway.
So, am I the only one who has played it?
Yep.
Adam Carroll hasn't played it.
No, I haven't played it, unfortunately.
Okay, so I guess that means it's left to me then to tell you that it's it's fucking brilliant. Like it's brilliant.
So let's get into this. Like the Metroidvania style game, okay? That's what this is, isn't it?
Well, no, this is a Castlevania style game. Like this is like the only thing missing is it being called Castlevania : Bloodstained. Actually, you could call it : Bloodstained and it would still work. I think would be a really, really horrible picture. So the thing is, right, I will caveat this by saying, do you like Castlevania games? Because if the answer to that question is no, move along, nothing for you to see here. This is, in all but name, I mean, Igarashi, have I said that right? I probably haven't. But he's behind this, and this is the Kickstarter. This must be one of the longest running Kickstarters, actually. It feels like it's been going for a very long time.
Yeah. I'm not sure how long, but a while.
Oh god, I don't know. This is a Castlevania game. It looks good. It's been modernised in some ways, but not in others. And I'm actually... So one of the things about Castlevania games is like, think of like... I mean, if I was to say to you, Gary, what would you say is probably the most popular, well-known Castlevania game?
Got to be Symphony of the Night.
Symphony of the Night, right. And, and in that game, you're exploring the map, you're opening up areas. Again, the Castlevania thing came from, you get an item or thing that lets you go back and access new areas, be it a double jump or whatever. You can save in certain rooms, and only certain rooms. You can fast travel via certain rooms on the map. They're not the same room, they're different rooms, often in separate places. That stuff's all completely here, like 100% here. Like, you cannot... you can suspend the game, in that you can like create a suspend point that will save wherever you are, but it will kick you to the main menu. So you can't save Scum. It's really a game you need to save in. And in many ways, I think that's going to throw people off because a lot of games do this, but they are kind of roguelikes now. You know what I mean? In this game, I think there's a lot of people who will die, go back to the save point, and then as they're going back to where they were, go, oh, there's that chest I opened up. Oh, there's that thing. Oh, wait, hang on. I haven't got that item I had before I died, and people are going to be a bit confused because if you die after you save, anything up to from that save point on is gone. That is a proper save state. If you open 10 chests, they're gone because you didn't save your game, you died. And there is a certain element of people who are going to play that and go, oh, that's a bit punishing. And I think it's interesting to me that with all the stuff that came out around Sekiro and easy mode, I'm kind of fascinated there's not that chat happening around this, because I was thinking about this and I mused it upon Twitter that you could have put an easy mode in that let you save anywhere. And I get why they haven't, in the same way I get why Sekiro doesn't have an easy mode, because it's kind of this almost auteur, like, this is my vision. But it does in some ways feel exactly like the games it is supposed to be like. Does that make sense? Like, it is.
Yeah.
It feels like one of those with modern visuals. There's crafting in it. There's all sorts of stuff to make it more RPG. Like, well, I mean, you level up, but it feels quite arbitrary. That's the one thing I would say. It's built around shards, so that when you kill an enemy, shards are basically your magic power, your mana, and every enemy you kill, there's a percentage chance that you'll get a shard from them. And it's this scene of, like, if you'll kill an enemy and you'll go into freeze frame, and this shard will stab your character Miriam through the sort of heart or chest, and it gives you that power to select. Like, there's one sort of goop monster that throws bones, and eventually you'll just kill enough, or this random chance that you get the ability to throw bones as your magic power.
Yeah, they did that before in, well, not so much Bloodstained, obviously, but they did it in one of the Castlevanias. I want to say it was Order of Ecclesia. I'm sure they had like that ability where the whole thing was every time you killed an enemy, you had a possibility of getting that enemy's abilities.
But it goes further because it's like, so you have, first of all, you start off with a magic power, say on triangle or Y, and that is kind of like your standard. A lot of them tend to be summons, like you can summon a wolf and it attacks once, it runs through the enemy, so you can miss it and completely waste your magic. And then the right trigger is aimable with the right stick, you can aim 360 degrees and fire. But then there are like familiars, which are kind of passive. You select your familiar and like one of them's a sword and it just follows you around the whole game once you get it, and it attacks for you, and the more it kills for you, the better level it gets as well. There are other ones that are more about movement, like, I don't want to spoil too much, but that kind of thing. It's got kind of roadblocks in it. Like the first proper boss, I forget his name, begins with Z, and he's kind of like a samurai. I found it very difficult because it's so old school. It's like if you touch an enemy, you take damage and are staggered a bit, like Castlevania. Mm-hmm. And so you can get into a loop of if you cock up a jump, or because enemies kind of, some are just advance at you, some stand still, some fly, but if you cock up a jump or something and you kind of are, your sprite is in the sprite of the enemy, you're kind of just like staggered repeatedly out of it, and if they're walking towards you, it's quite difficult to kind of unstun lock yourself and get out of the way. So there are elements that make it trickier like that, but when I finally killed that boss, and it did take me coming back to it fresh the next day, I was like away. Like I just went so far through it. Like I killed another boss and got a power, and it's just excellent. It's excellent. Again, there are other things that people are going to sort of go, like for example, you've got your health meter, you've got your mana meter, but you don't know how much health the boss has got. So when I was attacking this boss over and over again, I kind of never knew if I was getting close because he didn't have a health meter. So unless you know he has 2,000 hit points, and because you can visually see that on the screen, I kind of never knew, was I getting close? And when I finally killed him, I really felt like I had actually not done as much damage as previous runs. So, I mean, I hadn't. That's not how it works. I looked it up. They do have X amount of hit points. But again, I think it all amounts to me saying, if you don't like that kind of game, I'm not saying there's nothing here for you. I'm just saying I think you're going to struggle. Like I will say as well, I was a bit disappointed with how the game runs. Like I'm playing on Xbox One X, and there are parts where the frame rate's a bit chunky when a lot's going on. Not so much with enemies, but like the visual style. Like there's a scene where you're on a boat at the start, and there's rain coming down, and it like gets a bit chunky. Nothing major. But like I will say, colour me surprised, because I wasn't expecting to like this anywhere near as much as I do, and like right now I kind of can't stop. I just want to play it. You know what I mean?
It's getting a really great response and stuff. I do definitely want to play it. I was the same as what you said there regarding, I wasn't sure how it was gonna be received and stuff, but like even you, like Ed, you've been talking about it on Twitter and stuff, and like you seem to be well into it.
It's just very. I tell you what, I wish I had it on Switch. I really wish I'd gone Switch, because like I could just imagine sitting there in the evening and doing a little bit of exploration, sat on the sofa. Like if this game had cross save, which I wish more games had, I would buy it on Switch so I could play on a big screen on my Xbox One with the best quality visual sort of thing and the comfiest controller, and then in the evening I would just upload my save to the whatever server and just carry on Switch. I really would. I wish more games did that. I really do. Like Gaz, you're going to get it, aren't you?
Oh, I'm definitely going to get it eventually, but like the more I'm hearing about it, the earlier that eventually it seems to be getting.
I mean, what was the reason, so to speak, for your excitement about this pre-release?
Just Castlevania. It's like we've needed a new Castlevania for ages, and we've just not had it. Konami seems to have just forgotten about it.
Do you know? And that's the thing, right? Like the more I play over this, the more I think, why didn't Konami just get him back, make a Castlevania? Like I say, call it Castlevania Bloodstained.
Yeah. I
think of the sales it would get on name alone, and I don't know if there was fallout. It does seem Konami seem to keep falling out with their major names.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the honest truth, but like, I've heard that they're going to support the hell out of this. There's going to be loads of DLC. Like, it seems a big game. Like, I've only fought like the sort of tutorial boss and 2 other bosses, and I haven't got double jump yet. And there's definitely a double jump in this game. Do you know what I mean? There's definitely a double jump. It's got so many weapons, and I mean, there's stuff it doesn't tell you. Like, I was looking up online, like, because this boss gave me so much trouble. I was like, do you know what? Am I supposed to be fighting him yet? It was that difficult. I should say, by the way, it's one of those things where Mick, who's reviewing it, he actually did it on his 3rd try. It took me over 10. So I've never been good at these kinds of games. But I will say, I ended up looking it up online, and it says, I accidentally saw what the next boss was, and it's like, use blunt. And I thought, well, how do I know what blunt is? And then I realised that, that logo must mean blunt weapon. And I don't know how you would know that. I don't know how the people who wrote this guide knew that, because I haven't found anything that would necessarily explain, this boss is weak to blunt, without basically taking 10 attempts at it with a different weapon each time and seeing how much damage each one does. Like, there's guns in this game with different bullet styles, and like that boss that gave me trouble just blocked every shot. Like, every shot he blocked. So I was like, okay, guns don't work. There's big swords, and he was a quick, like, as a samurai style. Like, well, that's not going to be any good because I'm not going to be able to hit the bugger. It's a lot to it. There's a lot to it, and at the risk of talking for an hour about Bloodstained, I think you can probably hear my enthusiasm for what it's got to offer.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to play it.
Indeed. I suggest you just race to the shops and buy it when it's out physically. Speaking of racing, Gaz, like, there's a game that comes out every year. And that wasn't as good, admittedly, but I'm not going to... I mean, the fact you laughed at that and not the fucking Bloodstained is borderline offensive.
Listen, there was too many chicken questions coming at me, all right?
Yeah, you got confused. You got confused. But F1 2019, Gaz.
Yep.
You're a fan, it seems. 9 out of 10?
Yep. Yeah.
Now, I'm going to be the douche, and I'm going to... As host, I can be the douche, and people know it's host duties. I'm going to ask you a question. In the past, I've played F1 games, and they always look pretty good. I've never thought they looked amazing, truth be told. Not like a Forza, not like a GT Sport. Or Project Cars. I've never felt the F1 games look incredible. So I've often wondered, what do they add each year to kind of... Because it's a tough thing to have to get a new game out every year. We're probably not looking at Codemasters as a team as big as, say, Playground Games or whatever. So how have they made F1 2019... Didn't quite finish the sentence there. How have they made F1 2019 not relevant as such, but the game... And how have they made it a 9 out of 10?
I mean, it's stuff like... Some of it's little things, like the handling's been improved. It was already great, but they've improved it ever so slightly more. But it's also, like, one of the biggest ones for me is adding F2, which most people would just be like, well, why aren't you racing F1? But
I think you're going to have to just explain what F2 is very quickly for some people. I'm not even sure our listeners will know.
Think of F1 as the Premiership, F2 is the Championship. So it's like it's essentially like it's the feeder series. So, like, some of the racers that are currently in there now have come through from F2. It's kind of where the next generation tend to come from.
Right.
And it's something like... Because I've played a lot of racing games, and one of the things that has stood out over all this time is why other games, you've got stuff like MotoGP, the Dirt games, WRC, you've basically started your career at the bottom, so you've not been starting at the very top level, and you work your way up. Whereas F1, it's just not offered it.
Did they not used to have that sort of thing?
They had I forget which one it was.
We're going back some when I'm thinking of this, but I feel like they used to.
They had, it was kind of like the youth program.
Okay. I remember something where it was like you start out as a youngster.
Yeah, but it was just, all it was essentially, this is your tutorial, and then we'll just throw you into F1. This one, it kind of makes it's almost got a story to it, which is weird, but considering this is the same team that made stuff like, was it Toca Race Driver? I don't know if you remember that, when it actually had a story and everything. It's a similar thing, just toned down a bit. Because it's like, when you start you've got the option when you start your career, you can just jump straight into F1 and it'll just be the same as it's always been. But if you start in F2, you get like a little story with proper, like, fictional characters, other drivers.
Are they not licensed, the F2 drivers?
No, they are all licensed, but for the career, they've added these specific characters just because one of them is a total dick. And they've made him like proper pantomime villain. He's the one that's like, I'm the best racer. You know, you only beat me because you cheated, even though he was the one that cheated. That kind of thing. So I think if they made an actual driver do that, it would have been a bit harsh.
Some shade being thrown there.
Yeah, but it's quite cool. It's very pantomime. It's daft. You know, you're not in it thinking this is the best storytelling I've ever seen or anything, but it just adds an extra layer. So when you finish the F2, you and those other two drivers move up to F1, and just kind of like continues the rivalry. And it's not always there. You only see little bits of it here and there, so it's not completely getting in the way of like the sport that most people will be buying it for.
Right.
But it's quite a nice little addition. There's loads of other new bits as well, like new modes, and the weekly Grand Prix stuff is quite cool. I'll be looking forward to seeing what they do with that, like post-launch, because it's essentially you go in and you do like your practice and your qualifying, but your times that are going up against other players. And then when you get to the race, you actually race against other players. So it's kind of like a nice little extra bonus, and it kind of makes it feel a bit more like something like GT Sport, where you've got regular events for multiplayer, which I kind of want more racing games to do.
It does seem the way they're going, though. Like these kind of daily challenge modes, like you think back to like Spelunky that used to do it. I think a lot of games are now going, actually, that's a really great way of stopping people trading our game in.
Yeah.
I think with stuff like sports games, I think it'd be a really good thing, because you think of how many people will buy a sports game and then they'll kind of get bored and they'll end up playing just the one mode or something all the time. Whereas if you've got a daily or a weekly challenge or something that throws in, sometimes if it's multiplayer as well, it kind of adds an extra bit to it. And yeah, like you say, it'll stop people going, oh, I'm bored of this now, I'm going to trade it in. You know,
I do hope, however, that like those daily challenges, like they're cool and all, but I hope it doesn't become a thing where developers use it as a kind of an excuse to not throw out a full game, and kind of like in dribs and drabs release these things, as content.
But you say that, right? I was thinking about this is a little. I don't want to talk about E3 because I think we've done enough chat about E3. But I was thinking during I can't remember if we talked about this, Ad, but when EA did their EA Play thing and they were talking about FIFA, I saw a tweet by someone and it went over my head and I forgot about it until you guys have mentioned this. Someone was pointing out that like all the stuff they talked about in FIFA, how like they're going to improve passing or shooting or dribbling or this, that and the other, those are the kind of things that other developers patch.
Yeah.
Like if I'm just trying to think of a relevant one, but like if there was a problem with the AI in F1 2019, like a rubber banding problem, say, you would expect Codemasters to patch that.
Yeah, not make it a feature of the next game.
That's exactly it. Saying we've done this, that, and the other. And I was actually, it made me think deeper about games like this. I don't know how much we want to get into it this week because it's a busy week for games, but we haven't done a long pod in a while. So I thought, I may as well throw this out there. Gaz, as a fan of some of games like the racing games, which tend to get, I wouldn't say all of them are yearly sequels, but a lot of them are.
Yeah.
Forza, whether they take a year off like they are now, and whether it's Horizon or Motorsport taking turns, whether it's, like you said, the WRC games, the F1 games. Similarly, Chris, I know this is a bit out of Adam's wheelhouse, but Chris, you and I like our FIFAs, the NHLs.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point where I wonder if actually I would prefer next year's FIFA to be called FIFA.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying go back to the days of updating the, oh look, just give us new kits,
Yeah.
I wonder what you guys would feel if a game like F1 came out as F1 and FIFA, and they fixed the problems throughout the year, and it became... I haven't worked through the kinks, this is me throwing it out here, but if it became a subscription model, because a lot of people, like Chris, you mentioned it last week on the pod, I think, talking to Calvin, you've been playing FIFA kind of every day all year.
Yeah.
If they said September 27th, we're going to update the game with the stuff we've been working on all year. It's because you think again, Fortnite, how much they patch that game. People are spending money on FIFA Ultimate Team. What about turning FIFA or F1 into Battle Pass kind of things where, hey, buy the Battle Pass, and this Battle Pass Season 4, you're going to get new stuff for the journey. X amount of free FIFA Ultimate Team. Well, it's not free, is it? Paid content. As well as the balance updates. I mean, I don't think they're going to do it until they start slowing down sales-wise, but as a fan of those genres, what would you be for or against it, Chris, do you think? Honestly, it's not going to happen, but I'm curious.
I think if it was to happen, I won't be too opposed to it, but I think just because I'm so used to getting new releases every year,
that's what I'm saying. Do you want this sort of tentpole? The new FIFA is out on. I keep saying September 27th. I've got a funny feeling that might be Pez's actual release date, but
I think that is FIFA's, or is it the 29th? It's
September.
around that area. Yeah. It's the end of September either way.
I think.
Do you get excited thinking about
I think
the new FIFA's out?
Well, like over the last few years, how have we've kind of changed camps a bit? Well, I have with FIFA.
I always
and
played
PES.
both, but I played more FIFA this year than I have in many years.
I hadn't done that for years. Played FIFA, and then FIFA 19 came out, and it's a million times better. So, I mean, if it was to be this quality, and they kept patching in new stuff, and they tweaked. Like with career mode, we're getting to a point now where it's pretty much the same every year, and they can say, "Oh, we've added different financial things to it and all this," but really, I can't remember. Tell the difference from FIFA 18. So if it's a case of like improving certain aspects of the game year on year, and I won't really have a problem with it. And if they did the whole, like at the end of the season, they changed the focus to like, so the Premier League.
What I'm saying is, if any game could sell something called a season pass, it's a sports game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it is literally, they call it season pass 19/20, and like Gaz, back to you with F1.
Yeah,
I know you were excited for the release of the game, but let's say 8 months from now, will you be hammering F1, or will you be kind of thinking about F1 2020?
Probably a bit both. Because, I mean, I recently started playing F1 2018 again, like in the last month or so. Partly it's because the new F1 season's been going and stuff like that, but partly because I was just like, I'd like to play it again, and it was on Game Pass. Because I reviewed it on PC, so I had the PC one, but I was like, Game Pass, I can play it in 4K and see what it looks like on the X and stuff as well, which very pretty. But that also helped when I went pretty much straight from that into 19. I saw the difference. It's quite a big difference visually, especially. But I mean, if they did decide to go the route of like subscription, I'd be for it. I think it just depend on the price and like how they managed it. Like,
if you're into your racing games and your sports games, all of a sudden you got £100 a month going out of your account for keeping FIFA. Yeah, I mean, Adam, like, I don't think you're a massive fan of the game Destiny, but I think eventually that's what they will do. It will just be called Destiny. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and they will just.
I think the idea is like really good. I think that should be the future of these games, because like at the end of the day, like every year when a new FIFA comes out, like I don't play it, but I have a lot of friends who do, and I'll always ask, what's the big difference, what is it? And like all I ever get is, a bit more control, and I'm like, how much more fucking times do they need to change the control?
But like, you mentioned about the outdoor stuff as well. What if the outdoor stuff was part of the season pass? Like, everyone would buy it.
Like I thought, like they did it with UFC. They just came out and they went, UFC, we're back. That's it. Like, leave it there. It would just be cool to keep it that way and just perfect the game with the patches and release just like good content. Because like at the end of the day now, where is FIFA? Like in terms of, like, is it still need of improvement? Like, is FIFA?
Yes, is the answer.
Like, that's mind blowing. And at the end, like, you're going to still have to come out and spend like 70 quid or something.
They only have, like, people keep saying the year cycle. I don't even know that it is a full year, because you think the game is out a year after the next one. Like FIFA 20, let's say it's 27th. FIFA 21 will be out the year after to that date. So they either have to have a team already developing 2020, and there is a live team on that game that updates it, and they do patch fixes. But I don't know. I don't know. I just...
I felt like I got stung quite a bit with the very, like, first few releases of the WWE 2K games.
There's another game that could do with that. But then...
Do you know, I just thought, like, I got the first one, I was like, oh, it's not what I was hoping, and it was rough. And then the next one, the following year, came out, and I was like, oh, it's still very rough. And it just kind of third time around, I was like, fuck's sake, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm after spending nearly the bones of 200 quid now on this series alone, and I can't actually say that I love any 3 of these games that I bought throughout the year. I don't know, I would just prefer a game like that to just be done. This is the franchise. We release patches and we release the content for you. You buy it if you like. And it's a great focus and it's a great market plan, because there is, like Gaz said, he went back to 2018 and stuff. What if 2018 Formula 1 was the best Formula 1 game that he had, and he was able to just, like, would you be genuinely happy if they came out, Gaz, and said, that's the last one we're ever releasing, but we will bring out the content? Like, would you be like, no, you have to improve all this stuff?
I mean,
or would
I suppose I'd be a bit both, because you'd be like, I wish you'd have fixed that, or I wish this was slightly better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, 2018 was another excellent racer as well. So, yeah. I suppose it depends on each initial game, because it's like if they did do this subscription thing, the game that they released as the start of it would kind of have to be spot on.
Yeah.
From the start, because there's only so much they'd have to be able to update that without completely...
No, I don't know, because if it's a case of like with a game like Destiny, you are essentially re-downloading the client, or like a Sea of Thieves, they can fix anything because you re-download the client. It's not a patch. It's when patches get to certain size where they change the code so much, like it is literally you are re-downloading the game. But that is prevalent now. Like that happens. So I don't see why they couldn't have issues and still make them. I don't know. It's a sticky thing.
I kind of think of it as like, even with Mario Kart 8, a game that like that's the game I've played the most this year, believe it or not. And I'm playing it, and like, yeah, there's a couple of things I would like them to pull away from Double Dash, but if they just said, no, that's the final Mario Kart, that's it, but we're going to keep releasing courses.
Oh, my word.
I would be over the moon. I would be like, cool, that's amazing, that's perfect. Like, things like that I would accept. Because...
Well, yeah, I don't know. Go on, sorry.
No.
I'm with you totally. I'm with you. I want more content for that game.
Oh, so bad, man. So bad.
I would say that the three of you and myself have definitely passed judgment on that issue, Chris.
Oh, God.
The whole bit about the games as a service was just a way for me to say we passed judgment on it. Because Chris has reviewed Judgment and passed judgment upon judgment. His judgment was 7 out of 10 for that judgment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, by all means, I do think of Chris as sort of Judge Rinder sometimes. Like that. In fact, does that fly? Because that's a very English kind of reference. Does anyone know who Judge Rinder is?
Nope.
Fucking Judge Rinder's amazing. Talking. There you go. That was my impression.
I kind of like that dude. I think he's
I
think he's quite witty. I think he knows his shtick, and I think he's quite witty. He's a Judge Judy. Do you know who Judge Judy is?
Yeah.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
Okay, well, it's basically the English version of Judge Judy, isn't it? Like, it's small claims court, but on telly, and this guy is I don't know much about him, so if he's an outrageous cunt,
I can tell
then I'm sorry. But
a really interesting fact about Judge Rinder.
Please do, because I'll probably have to bleep what I just said.
He was the best man at Benedict Cumberbatch's wedding.
How the hell do you know that?
He was there, clearly.
Me and Rinder are tight.
Bros.
I don't know that we need to talk about Judgment, but we could just talk about Judge Rinder.
I could talk about Judge Rinder forever. I watch it pretty much on a daily basis if I'm here.
Yeah, it's kind of on usually when I get home, and I must admit, Chris, like I start watching it and I'm like, this is fucking beneath me, but somehow I still
do you know what?
I think my wife will start talking and I'm like thinking in my head like, shh, this is he's gonna say something, shh. But it's always kind of like, the thing I don't get is that so these people he gives judgment and someone gets money and then the other person gets the shit and then they interview them, and the first time I ever saw this is like so after they do the talking heads bits like, oh yeah, well, to be fair, I did fry his cat and like, he was right. I just, I don't really like giving him the money, but we'll be okay. We'll get past it. And then they cut to the next guy. He's like, yeah, well, he fried my cat and like, it's disgusting. And I'm just really pleased, that I've got justice for my cat and he's going to give me money. And then they go to a third shot and all this is happening and they're both in this tiny little room together. Like they've literally been once found innocent and guilty and they're then doing the talking heads and they kind of shake hands and walk off. And it's like, this is weird.
Wow, not always.
Not always.
Not always. They can be vicious. They're all fucking like scumbags on there.
Some of them are all right, aren't they? I mean, some of them. Sometimes I've seen things on there where, like, there was one where there's the dad. I'm sorry, we are just talking about Judge Rinder now, Gaz and Adam, because Chris and I have found this thing. We're gonna talk about it. Like, if you're from over the pond, think of it as Judge Judy. But there was one where like it was the dad was suing the daughter because she bought a rabbit he said she couldn't have, and then the rabbit chewed through the electrics and he had to pay for it and he wanted that money back. And I mean when you say small, well, listen, when you say small claims, that is it's petty, isn't it? Like it's his daughter. She was like 19 and living at home. So like, to be fair, if you're living under his roof, then respect your dad's rules. I think that rabbit should never have been bought, and really justice was prevailed. The Judge Rinder's judgment was swift but fair.
Yeah,
Chris.
Exactly. And in Judgment the game,
I don't know.
Mate, come on. Everyone's dying to know what I thought of Judgment. I can tell. I just know that the listeners are like, come on,
But they
Adam,
can just go to
goddesgeek.com
goddesgeek.com and they can read your review and your thoughts, whereas they'll never know what we think of Judge Rinder. I ain't going to review that. Are you?
Oh, man, Judge Rinder the game. I loved a bit. And you could be Judge Rinder.
Well, it's like an very English version of Phoenix Wright, isn't it?
Yeah. It's very specific.
Actually, I reckon there's a Judge Rinder game. You know what? You can talk about Judgment. I'm going to Google that.
All right. It would be the studio behind it.
Don't care.
Devolver. Get them on that. It would be amazing. Anyway, Judgment. So, Adam and Gary, do you know much about this before I start talking about it?
Is it from the Yakuza studio, is it?
Yes. So it's by Ryuga Gotoku. And that's
I want to say you're is it a lawyer, an ex-lawyer or something like that?
He sure is an ex-lawyer. So
I know a tiny bit, basically.
It's all right. It's basically set in the same district of Tokyo.
Sorry.
What? Have you found one?
No, there's no game, but I do have to give breaking news.
What?
Sometimes games bets get serious, possibly a little too serious when the fiendish Dark Souls is involved, and this one ended up on an ITV courtroom show, Judge Rinder. Here's Thomas. This is from Games Radar, by the way. Here's Thomas. The reason Thomas looks so awkward is because he foolishly got inebriated at the Glastonbury music festival, for those who don't know, and he bet his friend Michael and his brother David that he would complete Dark Souls in the year before the next Glastonbury. He apparently even said in his pie-eyed state that it would be very easy. Then there's a picture of Michael and David. The reason they look sheepish is because they brought Thomas to a real-life/fake court to ask for the £100 he owes them for, in fact, not completing Dark Souls on the hardest difficulty in a year. And then there's a picture. Did Dark Souls manage to make it onto Judge Rinder, which to me says, I feel we can call Judge Rinder the Dark Souls of television programmes.
Yep. So yeah, it's set in Kamurocho, which is the same. It's a version of a district in Tokyo, and it's been in every Yakuza game that we've seen so far. Except it's got nothing to do with the story in Yakuza. It's a completely different story about a lawyer who was defending this guy who he managed to save from imprisonment, and then he goes out and murders his girlfriend in horrific fashion. and the game basically starts off with his girlfriend lying on the floor, all bloodied and fucked up, and the house is on fire. So pretty grim start. But it's similar in a lot of ways. Like the combat's very similar. There are different like tweaks to it where you can now run up walls and jump off and twat people that way.
Wait. This dude's a lawyer.
Yeah,
he just goes out and just starts beating the shit out of people.
Please,
Right.
a lawyer set in a Yakuza style game. Please.
I just wanted to, just clarify it.
Yeah, no,
Don't know many lawyers that go out beating the shit out of people.
He could do martial arts. That's the kind of guy he is.
You want to watch some fucking Judge Rinder, mate? You'll see plenty of them.
Oh yeah. So you can do that, but the main kind of pull of it is the investigation. So you are now a private investigator, because you kind of went off the rails after all that kicked off with that guy, and you basically take a load of different roles of things like you follow suspects through the streets, you investigate crime scenes, you interview people. It's just stuff like that, and it's not. I wouldn't say it's not a great game or a bad game. It's just a bit. I don't know what I was expecting. It's just not Yakuza, and that's not their fault. Like they're trying something else, but they've made it feel so much like a Yakuza game that
Do you think that's possibly the problem? Because it's
I think it is.
Rather than like they're trying something new, but not really, because they're more or less doing the same thing, just changing it a little.
Yeah, and that's I don't really think that's the way forward. I think if you're going to make something else, set it outside of the city you've most
that's actually what I'm a big fan of the Yakuza game. I know you couldn't even say the word then, the Yakuza games. But when I was well up for a new game from them, but then when they said it's still in Kamurocho, I kind of went, I thing about that is I still haven't finished one of the other Yakuza games, and they're set there too, and
yeah,
I really know and love those characters, and it became, instead of like, oh yeah, well up for this, it came to, I'll get to Judgment at some point. Yeah,
and I kind of like, I think the fact that I knew I was going back there was exciting because, like it's an amazing place full of some weird people and
it is
and stuff.
But you spent a lot of time there already.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
the thing as well, you spent a lot of time there a lot recently, and a lot with Kiwamis, with Zero, with Six.
Yeah, exactly. And I think just because of like how much I loved Song of Life, it's just, I think the investigation bits are so clunky and they just don't really work that it just lets it down. I just kind of wish I'd just take that out, but then I guess it wouldn't make it a different game. It'd just be the same game, just it feel more like a spin-off than a separate game.
Yeah.
Even though it kind of does that now, so it's not. I'm making it sound shit because it isn't. Like the story's really good, and it kind of does that whole Yakuza twist. Like there's a lot of twists and stuff like that, and you are actually tied to the Yakuza in some way because your partner is an ex-Yakuza of the Tojo clan, which is a very famous clan in the Yakuza games. So the Yakuza are in it, and you do have things to do with them. But on the whole, like there's too much of the investigation stuff that doesn't quite work, and then so it is a bit of a shame. But it's not the worst game, and I think if you want to find out a bit more, the review would be the best place to start because I'm rambling too much about its negative things. And
is it got like how like sort of Shenmue started this, but also Yakuza games did this too? Has it got like a lot of I don't say side stuff, but kind of curios, like in the Yakuza games you can go into like Sega World or Sega Arcade and do that stuff? Like, has it got anything like that?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. That's like drone racing. There's the arcades are back.
Is there like any car racing or anything like that?
I didn't see any car racing.
No, kart.
Kart? No, I don't think so.
Like the sort.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, come on.
Yeah, well, all right, mate.
Sorry.
All right, hang on.
I am underappreciated in my time.
Hang on, right? On our document, that isn't next, all right? So I wasn't expecting you to go straight to that, all right? So don't you be like that. That was a bad link at the wrong time. I was expecting an impressive link towards the other game that I assumed was going to be next, okay?
Listen, Gary's tittering there made me feel good. Which Crash Team Racing hasn't made me feel great because I It looks glorious. So, Chris, again, your review will be up by the time people hear this.
Yes,
definitely.
it is written, so it should be up soon.
That's it. We did have it pre-released. If people are wondering, we just very much wanted to test the online of it because
there's also like the one of the other reasons I wanted to wait was because there's a local arcade, like so I could play with my kids, because there's a lot of features there which I haven't been able to test, so that's all testing now. But right, so I know we're going to get into this, but I just want to say to anyone that's played this, and like I'm not like it's not about other reviewers being wrong, but there's not really been a lot of mention of the difficulty. I haven't seen anyway, and I pretty much played the game after the first 4 or 5 races when it just started to get too much. I just played it on easy because I appreciated just enjoying it. I'm not playing it to be tested, and I think I was burned by Crash Insane Trilogy with the difficulty. So I just want to. I love this world. I love the characters. I just wanted to enjoy it. So if the difficulty is a big problem with this game.
So the question I would have to any of you actually, but especially obviously to Chris, like, were you into this game when it came out first? Like,
yeah, I played it on the PlayStation back when it came out
because it's revered. It's a revered game.
Yeah,
like Gaz, as a obviously racing fan, were you know?
I never really liked Crash Bandicoot, so yeah.
See, I did. I don't think I've played this.
No, I never played the original.
I kind of, it's one of those where I kind of knew about it, but I don't think I played it at the time.
Yeah.
So I was quite surprised by the rubber banding in this game, which I would presume is faithful to those old days. I would say I'm with Chris. Like, it's a game to me that I 100% don't be ashamed to just stick it on easy and enjoying it. No. But also, again, the reason I mentioned the multiplayer is because I kind of feel like, although this has got a shitload of tracks in it, I think, like a lot of kart races, it's going to live and die by the online and the local multiplayer, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's what's great about it. Like, you do have the adventure mode, which is just a case of going through all the courses, and after 4 courses and winning them all, you get to go against a boss, and it's a boss like that you like. What's the fucking dingo one called? That all the bosses from like the Crash games are in it. So
Dingodile.
Yeah. And then the final boss is Nitrous Oxide, which he's the one that's come to this world and he wants to challenge you all to a race. And just
spoilers.
It's in the first minute of the intro, mate.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
So
I didn't.
So you have the kind of local arcade is what it's called. It's got a lot of like there's battle mode, so think Mario Kart with balloons, and you have to knock them off. You've got a certain amount of like lives, so you can do that. There's the capture the flag. There's the steal the bacon or save the bacon, which is essentially you drive around a course collecting pieces of bacon, and then you have to drive and drop them off into this portal. But the thing is, like,
why not
playing them with both my daughters, one's 6, one's 9. Like I went to work this morning, and before I left, they were like, "Daddy, can we play on Crash Team Racing?" So I let them play on it,
right? And
they were on it for a good 2 hours solid. Like they adore it, and they've played it loads since I've had it. And I've played with them, and it's easy for them to play, especially when it is on easy. Like there's certain issues with the handling, but it's no different to getting grips of it like you can do in Mario Kart. It just so happens to be that Mario Kart's a far superior handling system, both in the way it controls and the drifting, I mean, which is superb.
I'm going to say I'm not scared to say it. Mario Kart 8's better.
God, yeah, it's much better.
Okay,
much better. But I don't think this is I don't mind if I have to play a game on easy mode. Like this, no. And it's much more enjoyable on easy mode. Like there are certain times where it's slightly tricky on that, but when you play it on medium, it's ridiculous. Like you like the first race. I mean, you mentioned it today on Twitter, I think, where say you take the power ups out of it, you still can't get past the person in first place. Like because the track's so like round, there's not a lot of corners.
The boost methodology in this game is quite different to, so like in Mario Kart, if you jump and hold the button, you'll slide and it will grow your boost the longer you do it. In this, it's more like you have to use both L and R. Is it R1 or R2? I can't remember, but both of
R1 and R2. Yeah, L1 and R2.
You have to use them
L1,
both in tandem to get your boost up, but I don't think it does a great job of telling you that.
No.
It certainly didn't me.
No, I didn't, because you can, like, it's more technical because you can chain them together as well. So when you do get further, the courses are a lot more kind of like, there's a lot sharper turns in quick succession. So you can kind of use your boost. So you do one boost, and you've got a certain amount of time to then press R1 if you're turning left or L1 if you're turning right to kind of hit that boost. Then you do it again with the other, and if you hit 3 in a row, your final boost gives you more of a boost. And then there are more ramps. So when you get to the top of a ramp and you fly off, if you hop as you do that, when you land, you get more of a boost as well. So there's that. And then there's the collecting 10 Wumpa fruits gives you better boosting capabilities, but it also means that when you collect certain power-ups, they improve as well. Like the TNT crates turn into nitro crates. There's like this green like chemical, which is like a banana skin, that becomes more powerful. Stuff like that. So there are different things there to, like, so you know, shave a couple of seconds off a course. But like, I'm just having a lot of fun in the local arcade because my girls love it, and it's easy for them to play. So it's on the whole, like I think I gave it a 9 because I really enjoyed it. It's just that difficulty. If you want to play on medium, you too. What's it about playing on easy? Then I don't know. But like, there's no reason why you can't switch to easy because the courses are gorgeous and like they're very well.
Oh, it's a lovely looking game.
Yeah, and they're very well designed. Like, there's some really good courses as you get further on. Like, they're really well designed and they constantly change in difficulty and like really put your skills to the test. So yeah, it's a good game. But yeah, it's not a Mario Kart 8. But it's nice if you don't have a Switch. Otherwise, you should just be playing.
Well, it's on Switch. It's on Switch.
Oh shit, it is. Well, play it anyway. But Mario Kart's better. But play it.
I think so too. I think Crash probably is a little bit better than what's it called, Sonic Team.
Team Sonic.
Yeah,
Team Sonic Racing.
It wasn't great, that, but it's different kind of style of game, isn't it? It's kind of about teamwork and working together, whereas these are more about just blitzing around the track and having fun. But yeah, no, it's definitely good. People should try it if they haven't already.
I'm going to go back to it. I will say, like, I'm just going to give up the segues now because I just want to just briefly talk about Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, right? Because I played a bit of that when it came out on Switch, and I've gone back to it now because I again, talking to play on easy. So Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is a very difficult game, excellent game, but very difficult. But I kind of resisted using the Funky Kong mode because it gives you like, it's more health, I think, and like double jump and like you can float, and it's just an easier game. It's still not easy, but it did let me get deeper into that game and discover, my word, what some of those levels are incredible design. It made me want Retro to develop a Mario game. That's how good the level design is in places. But it also made me think about how Metroid Prime 4, or whatever they end up calling it, sort of the development broke down and they announced this year that Retro are going to be doing it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But that they were starting up development on it. It was kind of restarting, okay?
Yeah.
So look back at Tropical Freeze, and it came out in 2014 on Wii U. What have Retro been doing for 5 years?
Yeah.
Genuinely don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like they must have been doing something. But
That's unless the only thing I could think is unless they are kind of a studio in name only, and all the people are kind of off on other projects at Nintendo.
Maybe.
But when it comes to Retro, there's such pedigree that they do use that name to say that, and it's Retro Studios.
Yeah, that sounds more like it. You think of the game as that
you can't
good.
tell me 5 years they've just been dormant as a studio. If they're built as a studio. In the way like HAL Laboratories are under Nintendo, but they're a studio.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It is weird.
Like, even if the rumour that they've got Metroid Prime Trilogy Switch Edition ready to go for when they want to, even if that's true, that's not... I mean, it's 3 big games. I would have... I mean, I suppose that could be 5 years' work, 3... But even then, I don't know. It just made me think because it's such a beautiful game, like to look at. It feels great. Like the levels. I don't know if you guys have played it, but the level design is off the charts good in spots. There are some levels where you're like, some of them are quite long, but you're like, I don't want this to end. It's so magical the way this has been done. Like, it is incredible, you know. But there you go.
So sorry, I was just having a quick look. So they've done. Yeah, they've literally Metroid Prime. They did Donkey Kong Returns, Mario Kart 7 on the DS. Donkey Kong Returns, Metroid. Yeah, they're a subsidiary of Nintendo.
Yeah,
so
it makes sense. It could be that they use the staff.
They just
elsewhere,
they form
but
retro.
they use the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, when as and when. I just can't think what else a team. I mean, the thing is, well, I don't know how big that studio is.
No.
Like, is it 9 people? Do you know what I mean? Or is it, again, like 500 people who get moved around all over the shop sort of thing? Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. Have you guys played it?
No. But like I was saying to you the other day, like my Switch has been not collecting dust, but I haven't spent a lot of time with it. And then like I've just got back into Breath of the Wild, so I kind of feel like a bit of a dick. And so like when I play. Because I went to play something recently. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't know if I can. But like, it just reminds you how...
What? Sea of Solitude?
No, at Nintendo. Before that. The one that you're reviewing.
You can... Yeah, you can preview Super Mario Maker 2.
Right.
I should say, people are probably wondering why I haven't talked about that. I'm going to save that for the week the review embargo's up and I can just talk about the game.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean?
So, like, just playing that,
it
it just reminds you how fucking perfect these games are, like, to a point. Like, in a previous sense, because literally I haven't touched the main game at all. But like Odyssey and Mario Kart and Zelda, like they're phenomenal. So it makes me kind of want to try Tropical Freeze in the end, and so I think I might end up getting it when I've got a bit of downtime, just so I can just enjoy it.
What? Never then?
Yeah, never. Yeah, but no, I do fancy it.
Okay, well, we're going to move on to questions now. I should say at this point, apologies, we've had some technical difficulties and we've lost Adam Carroll. We're trying to get him back to get in for the last bit. But Thomas at LlamaFluff42 has, as always, Thomas, come through with the questions. Some are quick fire. I'm going to throw this one at Chris. Cheese Snacker Jacks in multi-packs are a thing. Does this excite you?
I eat cheese Snacker Jacks. Low in points. Yeah, no, they're very tasty. I love a cheese nibble, and they're one of the best because they're quite substantial in size. They go down a treat, and they taste nice. So yes,
take any of that out of context. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to that. He apparently looks like he's been shopping. You can only pick one, but which one? And he wants a whole podcast special on that, please. Well, maybe if you go to patreon.com/GodIsAGeek, we'll start doing more food stuff on there. But the picture he sent in is of multi-packs of the following: Club Orange, Club Mint, and Trio. But you can only pick one, Gary Bailey.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever eaten any of them.
Oh, shut up. Are you serious?
Fuck's sake.
Mate, did you just eat penguins?
Absurd.
Sometimes
he says something.
Don't you diss the penguin. Motherfucker, I will end you.
If you bite the corner off it. If you bite the corners, so you bite the opposing corner off of a penguin, so top left and bottom right, and then suck some tea through that penguin, and then you have to slam the penguin in your mouth, and it instantly melts, and it's like nothing else.
Oh, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, so bite one corner off, then bite the opposite corner, put it in your cup of tea, obviously not when it's boiling, when it's just lukewarm, but warm enough to melt, so you suck just a little bit of tea through, and then you have to swallow the tea, and then quickly whack the penguin in, and it literally melts in your mouth.
Sounds nice.
In your mace? In your mouth.
Yeah, no, I'll do that.
Which would you pick, by the way, Chris?
Gary,
did you not actually choose?
I suppose out of the ones, maybe the Trio. But,
Okay.
So...
Sorry, Thomas.
He's killing me, Chris.
I think I'm partial to a bit of mint, so I'd probably go with the mint club. However, it's tight between that and the Trio. So
well, then just to mix things up, genuine answer, I'd go Club Orange.
Ooh.
I love orange chocolate. He also wants to know if any of us play games on our phones anymore. I keep thinking about, I should catch up on phones. Like Monument Valley 2, I never downloaded. I don't really. Sorry.
No,
Do you
no,
guys?
I stopped a long time ago.
I go through phases. Like I went through a phase. Well, obviously you remember Emoji Blitz. Like, I played that to death, but then like I was on Hearthstone. I played that quite a bit. I got RuneScape, stuff like that. And I mean, I haven't played a mobile game for a while, but I do like to dabble. Like, I'm nothing against it. I mean, I just got that Wizards Unite, so I've been dabbling with that with the kids. Like, but like,
do you know what? I'm lying. I still play Pokemon Go.
yeah,
I forgot.
Yeah.
I play that every day.
there you go.
I'm a liar. I bet Gary doesn't. Gary doesn't play games on his phone.
No, I think the last thing I played on my phone was Real Racing 3. That was years ago, and I gave up quite quickly with that because it was
What
a bit
phone
shit.
do you have?
I mean, now
A Nokia 3310.
I was thinking that.
I've got an iPhone, but it's the 6, so it's like pretty shit now. I'm due an upgrade, I think, next month. So I don't know, maybe if I
Do
get
you need a newer phone?
Sorry,
Do you need a newer phone?
I'm not that bothered.
There, then don't give them your money and tie yourself in for another 3 years. Does your phone work? Does it do what you need it to do?
Mostly.
Okay, then maybe you do need an upgrade. Thomas also says that he says we like to holiday in the UK. Where's your preferred staycation?
Is he talking about just the UK? Like,
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. So that's what that kind of is what a staycation is, Gaz. But
I've never heard the term
Gaz is
before,
a caravan.
That'd be
Doesn't matter where.
No, like I used to go to Blackpool a lot when I was a kid. I mean, it's not as good these days. I went a few years back, but I suppose there. But yeah, I don't know.
I like Blackpool. I got wankered in there a few years ago, and I remember going to it was like Flares. Do you know what Flares is? Place club.
pair of trousers.
No, it's like a 70s club, but there was one that was an 80s club. I remember just being sat in a corner with my mates, drunk as fuck, singing "Bed of Roses" by Bon Jovi. That was a very good time. That was in Blackpool, so I'm gonna go with Blackpool.
If I can't go abroad, be honest with you, which I can't because I'm always skinned. I kind of maybe a weekend somewhere, but I don't know where. Like, you know, obviously we've got a dog now, so like I'm looking at dog friendly places, but you know they're all expensive. I'll be honest with you, if I can't go abroad, I probably wouldn't. Well, if I could get a week away somewhere like Cornwall or Devon, and it was reasonable and cheaper than going abroad, and I could guarantee the weather, that probably.
Yeah.
You know, in these heady days of the eShop, indies, etc., is the summer drought of gaming a thing of the past?
Yes.
Yeah,
because I
definitely.
never have a drought, no matter what time of the year it is. There's always something I could play.
I'm still playing Dishonored 2. You know?
Like Game Pass. Like I've just downloaded like Old Man's Journey because it looks amazing, like the art style. So I'm giving that a go, and like there's just so much. I've got so much in my back catalogue that I can play. I don't think I've ever suffered a drought in the last. Well, since being at God is a Geek. So there's just so many good games coming out, and so many games that are out that I haven't played yet. So that's lovely.
Chris White, not you, Chris.
No.
At Romero Soldier. This is another Chris White.
He's a good lad.
He's a nice chap. Mike Bithell, he means, is doing a John Hex game. That's the John Wick. No,
Yeah,
what is that?
John Wick,
isn't it?
Yeah, John Wick.
Yeah. What indie dev and what film license would you put together?
Good question. Oh man.
Larian Games, possibly. They're still indie, aren't they?
What game, though?
I'd say Lord of the Rings.
License?
They're
Right.
very good with the fantasy stuff, and I bet they could put something brilliant together with Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Annapurna.
That's a publisher.
Oh no, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
I think. Is it
No.
both?
Well,
What's the studio that made Super Hot?
Well, that's super hot. That's the name of the
say,
studio as well.
they could do something like a Die Hard game.
hang on.
Or a
Why Die Hard?
Matrix
That's-
game or something like that. I was thinking just like a cool action game, especially if they did it VR, a similar way. That'd be quite cool.
I'm going to go with Supergiant Games, the people behind Hades and Bastion and all that. I'm going to go with a deep RPG Avengers game.
Ooh.
I think there's any developer that could take a franchise that is enormous and almost too popular, but make something interesting with it. I think it's Supergiant. I think. You think about their history of game development, they have not had a bad game. They, in fact, have had every game has been superb and unique and clever. And, they made that... I can't even remember the bloody name of it. The one before Hades. The one, I think Chris, you reviewed it. The one that sort of blitzball come basketball, but was also a visual novel with a gorgeous art style. I would love to see their take on a franchise that's...
Pyre,
yes. Pyre. I would love to see them come up with that kind of unique, clever twist on any new idea on a franchise as enormous as Avengers.
I've got one. I've been thinking just briefly. One of my favourite films is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So that kind of idea, but in a That Game Company style video game, I think that'd be quite nice. It'd be trippy and weird, but also really pretty. So yeah, I'll go for that.
Miss Flanagan on Twitter, I think your kids on games, especially racing ones, the most frustrating time of your life, or is that just me?
I don't have kids,
so I know what she's like. The youngest, bless her. And to be fair, actually, Holly's much better at Crash Team Racing than her older sister. But they do this thing where you're sitting there and they're in first place, and then they just forget they have to accelerate, and they take the finger off, and then you just want them to win, and they're not paying attention.
Stop being bad at games.
It can be frustrating. Yeah. We're just perfectionists. Yeah. When they fail, they. Well,
that's not a joke you want to make, really. For me, I would say no, because mine are a bit older than yours, and they got to the point where they're pretty much better than me at everything now. So it's
Yeah, they're getting there. They play Minecraft to death. They've spent hundreds of hours on that. And they're really good at it.
That's a strange thing to say. You know that, right? They're really good at Minecraft. It's just
why?
I don't know what that means.
They're really good at. All right, they're really creative.
I think that's it. At that kind of age, they've got great imagination. So they
do. Yeah.
My friend's got a little boy, and now and again I'll go around and he's like, "Oh, I'll show you what I've been making on Minecraft." I'm like, "How the fuck?" There's some stuff that I'm like, I don't even know how to do that.
It's all the science behind it.
Yeah.
And you need to build one of these to be able to make this, to create this, and then
I think that's why they use it as a learning tool, don't they?
Yeah.
It is good for that. It teaches some logic, and it's quite cool.
Yeah, shame it was created by such a dickhead.
At Mick since '86, who is Mick Dirty on staff. I don't think we can, because he asked the question, we can't do him. But if you had to, that's a weird way of starting a question. If you had to pick actors to play all the current God is a Geek crew in a massive biopic, or biopic, I've never been sure you say that, who would they be? We can't do Mick because he's literally asked the question. We can do Mick Fraser, and I'm going to start, we'll go down the list, Mick Fraser, I'm going to say Dave Bautista. He's an actor.
Yeah.
He's in,
Hey, no, yeah.
Yeah. I think you've got that one.
I think that's good, right? I think we're there.
Spot on.
Yeah. I don't even think we need to say why. You just
that's a good call.
The muscular physique, the dry humour,
Yeah.
Who else have we got? I'm just typing out all of our staff names
sorry,
now.
I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for you to pull out something really fucking cruel just for me.
No, I thought of someone for you, and I don't think it's cruel. He's not modern, but if he was the same age as he was back in the 70s, but now, I think a Gene Hackman.
For Gary.
I could see Gary as a Gene Hackman.
I'll take that.
That's not bad.
I don't know, Chris.
What?
I'm not really thinking. I'm just. You guys keep going. I'm not ready to sign off on Gary as Gene Hackman.
He's googling shit actors basically.
Actually, I didn't type shit actors, but I'm not saying that C word twice on one podcast. Let's have a look. I don't know. Can we think of anyone else obvious? Like Chris Hyde.
Mm,
Do you know what? I'm gonna throw one out there for Gary. De Niro.
fucking hell, that's not bad.
I never said it would be bad.
Well, I don't know.
But I think everyone,
had a
even the
sneaking
listeners,
suspicion that
expected it.
Yeah.
I'd go De Niro or I'd go maybe Morgan Freeman for Gaz. Just the kind of dry delivery and the kind of.
I don't know why Adam Cook gave Arkham 9 out of 10, but he did. Yeah, no, yeah.
We've got to come to an agreement on this. Who? Is there an actor right who's particularly outspoken, but isn't also like massively racist or homophobic? Is this what this is the ballpark I'm thinking of? Because Gary is. Is it? Yes.
A massive racist. No, they're all quiet and
is he Matt Damon?
Conservative actors. Matt Damon in Team America.
No, but Matt Damon is he not quite outspoken and who is Gary? Come on, we've got names thrown around here.
Oh, I don't know. Morgan Hackman.
Is
Christopher Walken. Just throw anything in there.
Oh, Christopher Walken's a star.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah. Bruce Willis.
Is he Marlon Brando? Obviously when he was alive.
There's a lot of good actors being thrown your way, Gary.
Yeah,
I'm
a little in shock, to be honest, because I was just expecting the absolute worst.
Yeah, same here. I think this is something we're going to need to think
Should we move on to someone else?
Yeah, okay.
Who would Nicola be?
I don't know enough.
I feel like it's got to be someone quite like Bill.
Do you know who I was going to go for? But the thing is, I've got this funny feeling this person's gone from being beloved to less so. I was going to go for Angelina Jolie. But has she become not so liked?
No.
I think she's just kind of not disappeared, but she's kind of gone away
what I'm
from.
Thinking is she's publicly
an
activist in terms of a lot of things, or an advocate for a lot of things, but also physically into her fitness.
She is quite an activist.
She's a spokesperson for the UN, isn't she?
And I can imagine Nicola being that kind of sort of situation. Was Jolie in pirate films as well?
No.
I would say Angelina Jolie. That's the one that springs to mind for me for Nicola.
Wow. Fair enough. I was thinking Jodie Foster.
We have to agree that, or which one though? Which one are we going with? Fine.
No,
that's
Angelina's
fine. Someone's
fine.
gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Is Gary? Is he Kevin Spacey?
Oh, that's just harsh.
No, of course he isn't. I'm joking. Who else? Who's left? Adam Carroll. Obviously, we lost him to technical difficulties. He's Hugh Jackman, isn't he?
Yeah, handsome.
Well, I was thinking, I was thinking of the beard. But he's Hugh Jackman, isn't he?
Yes.
Any disagreements there?
No, I'll go with that.
Yeah, I can go with that.
That leaves both Chris's, me, and Mikhail. Mikhail's Harrison Ford.
Mikhail's a Harrison
just
Ford?
says shit, doesn't give a shit. He just says it, he doesn't care. He doesn't say offensive stuff, but what he does say is often dry and funny, and he doesn't give a shit. He just says it.
And Harrison Ford is known for his love of animated.
I didn't want to go down that route, but I do think he's outspoken in that respect, in that he would just say stuff and be like, no, that's it, take it or leave it.
I'd go with that. Why not?
Yeah, okay, that's easy. Chris Hyde is Chris Hemsworth.
Fucking hell!
Is that just because it's Chris H?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because I don't know anything about Chris Hemsworth at all.
Oh, Chris Hyde's like he's quite a nice guy, isn't he? I'm trying to think of someone that'd go with that. Chris Hemsworth's a bit of a dude, bro.
He is.
I'm not saying it couldn't go. You know, it'd work, but
yeah, I'm happy with that. Are we happy with that?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so it's just this ain't awkward. It's just us three then.
Chris, that's a tough one.
Will
Be
Smith.
careful. Yeah, sweet. He's like one
Just
of my favourite
a
actors.
fucking lovely guy. Just a lovely guy.
And I can rap too, so
Well, there you go.
yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that. Oh, now
See, for Adam, I was thinking someone like Tom Cruise.
I don't know much about him,
So-
but doesn't he do his
See,
own
he's
stunts?
he's a bit. Yeah, I mean, he's a bit older,
I was
but
thinking
he also
of a Tom.
he just
But
yeah,
I
he
was
just
thinking of a different Tom.
go on.
Tom Hanks.
Don't know enough about him either. He's a lot older though, isn't he?
He's a look. Yeah, we're not comparing ages, are we? We're just comparing
Yeah, okay.
temperaments and.
No, I was only mentioning the older thing for Tom Cruise because like he's a little bit older, but he just keeps fucking going. You know, he does all his own shit. He's aging well.
Well, see, the person I was thinking of for myself, I'm afraid to say, because it will be the most arrogant thing. But listen.
Please go for it. You're gonna have to now.
Okay, I'm going to say who it is, but I want to explain why. Okay, Keanu Reeves, right? And the reason being is that no matter what the world throws at me, I remain nice to everyone. Like, I'm just going to say this: I was at a football tournament this week, and I was walking past, and I felt this smash of a ball on the side of my face that knocked my glasses from my pitch to another pitch, and that kind of shit doesn't happen to other people. I don't know other people that this kind of thing happens to. And no matter all the shit I get, I just get up and go, nah, you're not beating me. And that's Keanu. But I admit that is incredibly arrogant. So I will take Tom Hanks. Begrudgingly.
You have Keanu. You're breathtaking.
Well, I wouldn't go that. See, that's where I didn't. That's where it falls down. That does leave. So I'm Tom Hanks, am I? I'll take that. I'll take his money.
Yeah. Yeah. We're done on
You mean like mugging him sort of thing? Oh.
Nick Gillum, we have,
Nick.
who is that's Al Pacino. Possibly.
What if he's
Yeah.
he's Al Pacino and I'm Robert De
Or
Niro
is he
because
Michael
we're always
Caine?
at each other.
Is he Michael Caine?
Nick's very outspoken, and also I suppose we'd need someone similar.
Yeah, that's true.
Who's always pissing off political people?
Johnny Depp? I don't know. Is he Meryl Streep? No.
I don't know. You've got a good one.
With Meryl Streep? Or
Yeah, I think it fits.
Ben Affleck?
He-
That's harsh. Liam Neeson.
Why?
Liam
No, there's
Neeson.
nothing wrong
He's
with Ben
Liam Neeson.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's Liam Neeson. No,
Yeah.
he's not, because he was horrible recently, wasn't he?
We'll just ignore the racist thing.
Can't really.
Well,
I suppose. Yeah, I mean, you are removing the. It's an actor. He's playing a role, so.
Trouble
Yeah.
is, this is
You
the
could
thing.
separate
This is the
it.
modern thing, like where you can't say I like someone because then you Google them, you're like, oh no, I don't like them. You can't,
Yeah.
even like a new band. Like I remember discovering a new band, and like before I share any of this, before I say I like them, I'm gonna have to Google them now.
Nick could be Tessa Thompson.
Or hang on a minute, lads, he's Arnie. Left wing, out there, outspoken. Arnie is left wing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
yeah.
Been in the game a while. Done one thing, but now he's
Yeah.
turned his hand to another. He's Arnie.
Someone will drop kick him from behind, and I reckon he wouldn't fucking
He wouldn't
phase him.
tumble.
No.
Yeah, I think you've got it on that
I
one.
think so.
Sorted.
And that just leaves Gary to be Clint Eastwood, doesn't
Would
it?
would that make me like Sylvester Stallone or something?
Yeah, you.
Oh, don't be Sylvester Stallone.
Is he all right now?
He got done, didn't he, recently?
Okay.
He was in
wait.
the papers for the ode Me Too, innit? So.
I didn't know that.
Okay, so you can't have him.
I'll take that one off the table.
What about Travolta? Is Travolta okay? Because we just need to pick an actor really now.
He's all right. He just allegedly cheated on his wife with a lad.
Okay, so we can't. What about Dwayne Johnson? I'm running out of actor names on this list.
The ultimate. Jason Statham, Dwayne Johnson, Vin Diesel's pretty cool.
By default, Gary, basically.
you're the Rock.
Who is the most vanilla of actors?
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, but you gave me him.
Yeah, but no, I mean in terms of like his private life, he's never in the paper. He's pretty down to earth. He's just normal. Whereas a lot
Robert
of
Downey Jr. I'm just going through Avengers now. Robert Downey Jr.
Chris Evans.
There you go. Whichever one that is.
Captain America.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
I mean, I'll take that.
And
He's
done.
a very handsome
Yeah,
man.
no, we're done. We're done. Literally, that is in the podcast. Just to say again, apologies, we lost Adam due to technical difficulties. Also, go to patreon.com/GodIsAGeek when you get stuff like this earlier than anyone else. And we also give you early access to videos like the latest vlog involving me, Super Mario Maker 2, and some guitars is already live. The Patreons, I will be sending the next one from Mick, which is, I've completely forgotten what it's about. Dark Souls and Elden Ring and replaying games you've loved and just left behind. And you get that stuff early. You'll have it now, actually. Other than that, it remains to be said, thank you to Adam, we've lost. Thank you to Gary for being on the podcast. We haven't had you for a while. It's a pleasure, Gaz.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
It's great to have you back, and it's great to have Chris back.
It was a pleasure.
Follow us all on Twitter. Follow God is a Geek. Go to God is a Geek. Subscribe to God is a Geek. Review God is a Geek. God is a Geek. Thank you very much. We will speak to you next week or whenever you choose to listen. Bye-bye for now.